Hey friends, it's me, Danny. Well, I'm down here on vacation in Florida, but the whole week that I've been down here, the best thing that's happened to me is I had a chance to take a break from vacation and catch up with actress Julie Cobb. I'm talking the Julie Cobb from Star Trek, Salem's Lot, the only female red shirt in the Star Trek original series to die. That Julie Cobb, an enormous repertoire of film credits, shows, movies, and I had the chance to chat with her. She's one of my favorites, and I've been so honored. So I'm so happy to bring you that interview with Julie Cobb. Let's get to it. Well, friends, it is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome Miss Julie Cobb. Julie, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is amazing.
It's my pleasure, Danny. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. If you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and get my starstruck fan comments out of the way. I was introduced to you, first of all, by seeing Salem's Lot. And of course, later on, I would say, oh, wait, there she is, in various shows. But I was so terrified by Salem's Lot as an 8-year-old that I couldn't really watch it again for several years. But because of the enormous terror it struck in me, I think because of that, it just became my favorite movie.
I have to interrupt you because
Sure.
when we made it, as you know, filmings are done out of sequence. And I read the script. Of course, the director was Toby Hooper, but we shot, and I think it was originally screened in 2 parts, but they had a cast and crew screening. And we, as the creative team and the audience, we were terrified.
Wow.
We could not believe how it was cut together and how impact of it. And I haven't really seen it for many, many years. But I remember that night like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
This is really scary.
Mm-hmm. It
In the window. Oh my
yeah.
God. Oh.
It really is. And a lot of people that are fans of the movie talk about how Toby used simple tricks. There was not a lot of computer or things like that, special effects. It was simple tricks, and they worked so well.
You shouldn't have been watching it at 8 years old.
My mom still says that to this day.
Must have given you, I remember movies when I was a kid that gave me nightmares for years.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, you started your career, if I'm not mistaken, 1968.
That sounds about right. I was 2.
You were 2. That's right. I remember that. Your parents were actors and performers. Your grandparents were actors and performers. Did it just seem like it was in the stars for you?
It more so with my daughter, who I'll tell you about later, but yes and no. My mother wasn't really actively acting any longer. And the history of my grandparents I've pieced together in later years. Of course, my parents were divorced, but he was huge, bigger than life. But as a little girl, I wanted to be a nurse. Actually, they were all little girl things back then. We've come a long way. I wanted to be a nurse or a teacher or a dancer. And then I realized at some point I could be all those things if I was an actress.
Right.
I could be everything.
Yeah. So your first role, Star Trek. Do you remember getting that role? And if I'm not mistaken, that was your first role, I believe.
That was my first acting role. I did a TV commercial a couple of years before that got me into Screen Actors Guild. But yeah, that was I was 21. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, 21.
Okay. Do you have any memories of working with Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and all those guys?
Actually do. I remember that better, maybe because it was a first. I remember
Hmm.
more about that than Salem's Lot or subsequent, or maybe Salem's Lot just scared the hell out of me and I heard press.
Possibly.
Um, yes, I mean, I auditioned for it. The director, oh, Mark, he was a kind of friend of the family, but I didn't know that at the time. And I remember several things. I remember being so nervous, I didn't think I could walk and talk, literally.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't think I could walk and talk. The other thing I remember is back in the day, it was not high def, so makeup was orange. Go to the makeup room and you're literally painted with, grease, not grease paint, but pancake that's orange.
Wow.
Tan orange. And my hair, of course, was very black at the time, and they poofed it up. And I thought I was going to look absolutely ridiculous, but it was filmed. So I looked sort of otherworldly, but that was the point. But no, I was human. But I remember that. And Leonard Nimoy had been an acting teacher of mine when I was 16.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I don't really remember his class. I was very young, but he was a lovely guy. And most of my stuff was with Shatner. And he had been in a extraordinary movie with my dad called The Brothers Karamazov,
Okay.
um, based on the book by Dostoevsky. And he was lovely to me. He was absolutely, couldn't have been sweeter.
Wow.
And I got through it. And then who knew it was going to be an iconic role in an iconic series? I mean, that was the first season. We didn't know anything. It was a job.
Right. That's amazing. And people talk about how you're the only red shirt or red skirt in your case
Yeah,
to
die.
die.
Female.
Mhm.
Now I do have a funny story. My daughter has a very good sense of humor. Her first TV job was Star Trek Voyager, but
Wow.
I
Okay.
don't know that she's ever seen my full episode of Star Trek, but you can Google it or you can see it on YouTube, and she saw scenes. So in the scene where I am reduced to a little block that the bad guy picks up and crumbles, the other block is brought back to life. I forgot his name, but I am crumbled. And there's a shot, Shatner was never at a loss for melodrama and drama. And he looks bereft, And my daughter turned to me and said, well, clearly there was a backstory there, which there wasn't, of course. I was just a red shirt. Anyway, that was Star Trek.
That is funny. You mentioned a while ago how when the cast and crew viewed the movie, it scared you. I don't want to sideline too much, but your father was so prominent. And did you as a family sit down and watch The Exorcist when he was finished with that?
No. By the way, have you said my father was Lee J. Cobb?
Oh, I did not say his name, but I do know it well. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And no, no, we didn't sit down as a family. That was also, the publicity for that movie. We had 3 heart attacks. That was the publicity to get people in to see The Exorcist. People are dying in their seats. The lines around the block in Westwood, in LA where I was from, were kind of historic for the time. It was one of the biggest openings. But no, I don't remember seeing who I saw it with. I do have a funny story talking about you seeing Salem's Lot when you were 8. My daughter, when she was about 10, demanded to see The Exorcist on TV.
Wow.
On TV. And I said no, as long as I could say no. I said, well, okay, we'll watch it. We were sitting in bed. She was under the covers in my bed. And as the movie went on, the covers got higher.
Right.
It's so scary.
It was horrible. Mm. Yeah, I imagine she was terrified. I remember watching it, as an adult going, whoa, this is a rough movie.
It's very rough. The parts with the voices that come out of her, and when it's Father Damien's mother's voice, so scary. Demi. I remember the sound of it.
Oh
yeah, my
that
God.
was.
I'm not crazy about being scared, by the way.
Oh, I know.
Are you?
No, I don't like it at all. I talked my dad into it when I was 8. My mom said, "Oh my gosh, you should not." She told my dad for years, "You should not have let him watch that." And so,
no. Anyway.
Yeah, I used to watch the Brady Bunch all the time, and you were on an episode of that. You have any recollection of working on that episode?
Yeah, I think that was my second job or so. Yeah, I think I was 21. I played a high school senior with attitude. And young Greg is a freshman. And I was kind of snarky with him, or, I lead him on, and then I really drop an ice cube down his shirt or something. I mean, I was very mean, but yeah, I remember that job, and I remember the family, the Schwartzes, Sherwood Schwartz, Lloyd Schwartz. Lloyd and I are still friends. Sherwood created that show, I believe, and his son was Lloyd. Lloyd was about my age, and we became friends. In fact, I did a play he wrote a few years ago, but yeah, I remember that.
Nice. If you don't mind, I just want to ask some general things about Salem's Lot for the fans out there.
If I don't remember, I'll make it up.
I understand. That'll work. Any memories just at all of filming it with any of the actors or working in Ferndale? Anything at all?
Working in Ferndale, we shot in Eureka. Was Ferndale the fictional name?
Ferndale is the town in the real town, and Larry Crockett's real estate and Barlow and Straker and all that is in Ferndale.
But that's in the fiction of it, because we shot in Northern California.
Anyway, right, it's right down from Eureka, so it's very close.
It's the real place. Okay.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I won't name names, but one thing I do remember, it's a terrible thing. You might be able to figure it out. It was on location. So I do remember coming, one very fun thing was at night, there was a piano in the big hotel lobby, and we'd have sing-alongs, and people would stay up drinking and singing, and some people stayed up later than others, and some people drank more than others. And what I remember in the morning, and I was never a big drinker, but I remember in the morning being in the makeup trailer, which usually has 2 or 3 chairs side by side with people having their makeup put on. I remember sensing, what is that? What's that? What? And the alcohol was coming out of certain people's pores.
Oh my gosh.
I had never had an experience like that first thing in the morning. But these were good actors. These were good actors. It certainly didn't. And maybe they were, I don't know if they were damaged or alcoholic or not. They could handle it apparently, but
right. Yeah.
I remember thinking, what is that? And then I realized it's not their breath, it was their pores.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, that's kind of not a nice thing. There were some really good actors in that. Ed Flanders, George Gunza, James Mason.
Oh yeah.
Most of my stuff was with Fred Willard and George Zunza.
Oh well, a lot of people talk about the scene where
he punched
George he busts you. You know, he comes into the room with a shotgun. And
Oh yeah. And then the next scene, I have a big black eye, right?
right.
Yeah. Fred Willard was so sweet. I mean, they all, I think he's gone and George Zunza's gone, and holy moly. Is James Mason still alive?
He's gone. He's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were good actors, and he was a
Mhm.
good director. I don't remember specifically being directed by him in terms of details, but I remember, oh, he's good. You know, I knew
Right.
then. And they bleached my hair. I don't know why I let them bleach my hair. I could have worn a wig.
Yeah.
They bleached my hair kind of strawberry blonde, and it was fun. I got to wear those short.
Yeah. You know, a fan may or may not have mentioned that. So
Oh
the
my
short
God,
shorts.
the short shorts and the tight t-shirt. Yeah, that was fun for me. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to, I've been able to interview Lance Kerwin and also Ron Scribner. And Ron played Ralphie Glick. He told me a couple weeks ago, he may or may not have had a crush on you during filming.
He told you he may or may not, he wasn't sure?
Well, actually, I'm trying to be nice. He said, tell her I had a crush on her.
Oh, no, now you're making that up. Well, if he didn't remember, that's not much of a crush.
No, he did. I was just kidding. I was being nice about it. He
Oh,
flat out said.
That's so sweet. I'll take
Yeah.
it. It's nice to hear low
Yeah.
these many years.
Well, I guess he would have been 12 or so at that time.
Yeah,
So,
that would have been about right. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit young. Do you ever run into any of the fellow castmates now from the movie?
No, not for many, many years. I think I ran into Bonnie Bedelia when I think she worked on Little House on the Prairie.
Mhm.
I think, but that was, I mean, years, you know, we're talking years ago.
Right.
No, I haven't. I don't think I've run into anyone.
Yeah. Well, one more question about Salem's Lot, and then I'll move on to other things. I'm not sure if you're aware, maybe you are, but there's a new one coming out. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't until you
There is.
mentioned it.
This is the first time it will be on the big screen in movie theaters.
Wasn't there one also since the one I was in?
Yes, there was a 2004 version.
Yeah, which I don't remember. Maybe I didn't see it.
Yeah, it did not. Among the real Salem's Lot fans, it doesn't have the strength or weight that the 79 version does.
What do you know about the new one?
Well, it involves James Wan, Gary Doberman. So the original release date was September 9th. And as a matter of fact, I, along with another YouTuber that I collab with, he's called Boogeyman Ben on YouTube. We were going to actually go out and meet Ron Scribner to go watch the movie together. So I was going to fly to California. We found out 2 days ago that the movie's now been postponed to April 21st of 2023.
Is
So
it a
we're
feature film?
It is.
Wow.
So we're a little disappointed we have to wait, but we're hoping it's because they want to do it justice and do it right.
Who's playing me?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked up.
Better be good. She better be damn good, right?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. When I read the book, because I've read it several times, but when I read the book and I see that character on which yours was based, I just see your face every time. I'm never going to be able to get that out of my head and move on to somebody else. I still see you.
No, you stick with me.
I will stick with you. But I didn't know if you knew about that and if you might plan to go see it.
Sure, I'll try to see it. I love movies. I love TV. I love good work.
Mhm.
You know who's directing it?
I believe maybe it's Gary Doberman. I know it's he.
Oh, okay.
and James Wan. One's producing, I'm not sure who's
I'll
doing
look
what.
it up. I'll look it up and we'll see who's doing it. Yeah, who did it.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, over your career in general, are there any actors that have stood out that you've said these were my favorite people to work with?
Well, I don't know if you knew, I did an episode of Gunsmoke with my dad
Mhm.
in
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
2 years before he died. And that was a thrill.
I
First of all,
bet.
Gunsmoke was great.
Oh,
The
yeah.
scripts of Gunsmoke were top notch. And he did it for me. He did that episode in order to have me work with him. And that was thrilling. That was absolutely he was so good. And I did have the experience that, I think I'm a good actor, but you're elevated if you're working with a great actor. Your
Mhm.
work is elevated. Um, I did a TV series years ago called The DA, produced by Jack Webb. That's way before your time, but he was Dragnet. Jack Webb,
Okay.
Harry Morgan. Harry Morgan is a former father-in-law of mine, but a Jack Webb show was usually let me just give you a hint. It was called The DA. The DA was played by Robert Conrad, and I played the public defender, and the DA won every case every week. So I
Okay.
lose in court every week. But I remember there was a guest, and I was, very young. I was good. I got jobs, but I remember we had one guest actress playing a real bad girl. I don't remember who it was. She might have been my client as a public defender.
Mhm.
And when it was my close-up and she was off camera, she improvised something that I was not prepared for. And I think she did it to help me improve. She put something in, and maybe it did help me, but I remember being so shocked. She was really good, and she was free enough to do that.
Yeah.
Um, who else? Not Scott Baio.
Uh-oh.
I mean, he was very sweet at the time. Um, can I get political for a minute?
Sure.
I did a TV series called Charles in Charge with Scott Baio,
Mhm. Right.
where
Right.
he played a boy nanny for my 3 kids. And in 2016, when he came out for Donald Trump,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I put a little post on Facebook with a picture from Charles in Charge saying, "Charles, you're fired."
That is perfect.
It was pretty perfect. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I mean, that show was actually a lot of fun to work on. Well, I did a mini series. I did a mini series. Yeah, this was good, of Brave New World
Mhm.
by Aldous Huxley at Universal. And I worked opposite, so bad with names, Care Delay, Brave New World. There were other, I mean, and that was a fabulous story. And I had an incredible role in that. Do you know the book? I played the mother of the protagonist, John Savage. He is the revolutionary, turns out to be. And I played his mother. And the reason he's different from that weird futuristic society is that he's born naturally. I forgot a birth control pill because nobody delivered babies.
Okay.
And once I delivered naturally, we were both exiled to a prison island.
Mhm.
And I mean, I had such an arc in my character. I got to be everything. That was really fun. I've had fun. I had my moments.
Right. It sounds like, well, you have so many credits to your name, I'm sure. So, so talked about favorite actors and maybe I have an indication now, but overall, your favorite role you've ever done?
Well, it was in a theater production. It was Arthur Miller's After the Fall. I played
Okay.
Maggie, who's character based on Marilyn Monroe. And I mean, that was fabulous because I did that part, when you're a youngish, I forgot how old, yeah, I was still in my 20s. When you're a young actress, you get pigeonholed, especially if you're working in TV. So for a long time, I played pregnant women, women who had to cry on cue,
Mhm.
women who were slightly sad or, challenged, but I wasn't a sex pod. I mean, there was Boom Boom Bonnie, which was that was that was after this role in the theater in LA,
Oh,
which
okay.
was, Marilyn Monroe and a beautifully written play. Um, and then I had the work with my dad. That was a wonderful part. I gosh, there I can't,
I understand. There's so many. Gosh, I don't know how you would hear.
it strikes me too, because I'm not really I work once in a while, but when I look back, or if I'm asked, by someone like you to think back, I do appreciate my career more than I did during my career. Because when
Oh,
you're during a career as an actor, you're always competing. There's always someone prettier, there's always someone sexier, there's always someone thinner, there's always someone better, you know,
yeah.
and so I didn't appreciate that I actually do have a body of work behind me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Um, one of your fans wanted to know if you can recall the most interesting thing that you have ever been asked to autograph. And I know this might be interesting because of your Star Trek history, but
Well, yeah, at one of the Star Trek conventions, I did too, and I think it was a photograph of me as that cube, you know,
oh,
and I autographed it, you know,
nice.
and maybe there were even cubes. That convention was in Las Vegas for 4 days, and that was a revelation, Danny, because
Oh,
there are Trekkies who know everything about
mhm. Oh, yeah.
everything about me. So but that was something about that autographing that picture. And I don't go to openings or, I'm not asked for autographs in person very much because I'm not at those kinds of functions. I don't do signings. I did those two Star Trek conventions, but they were both with my daughter who was in Star Trek Voyager. So
Yeah,
that was fun. We did a mother-daughter Star Trek thing.
that's awesome. Can I end by asking you for the fans, is there anything coming up now, or do you have any plans for anything that the fans can look toward?
I wish I could say yes. You never know.
Right?
I'm not actively pursuing work. I
Okay.
did some stuff when I moved to Charlotte. I did a TV show in Atlanta. Uh, but maybe I'm also I wrote and directed a short film. Actually, I would like to point people to that. It's
Yeah.
not brand new. It's 24 minutes long. It's on YouTube. It's called Night Vet, NIGHT, Night Vet. And
Okay.
it takes place in an all-night animal hospital, and it stars my ex-husband, James Cromwell.
Oh, Salem Plot 2004 also. He was in that movie. Okay.
And he was also Zephram Cochrane in First Contact Star Trek. So we were
Oh,
kind of a Star Trek. Yeah, oh no, he was great. He was great in that. So he did this little film for me, Night Vet, and I'm proud of that. And I would like to direct in the theater, trying to get some things going.
Mhm.
So I wish I could say I have a film coming out or a TV series coming out, but you never know.
Right. Awesome. Do you mind if I put a link to that movie from YouTube in the description at the bottom of
No,
this
no,
video?
that'd be so nice.
Okay, great. I will definitely do that. Well, I just want to, I know I said it, but it's amazing. I have to keep reminding myself that I'm actually talking to you. So I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm that fan right now. But I just can't thank you
Just a
enough for
little boy, so that movie made a big impression on you. You're
it
very
did.
sweet. You're very, very sweet. It was easy to talk to you.
Well, thank you. And I will end by saying, here's my routine. Every Sunday, I get lunch and then I sit down and my family jokes, what you gonna watch today? Because Sunday's my rest day. It's a day I do absolutely nothing. And I'll watch something on TV and they joke saying, what are you gonna watch today? Like they don't know, but they know it's gonna be Salem's Lot. So you are literally on my TV every Sunday.
Oh my gosh, you gotta move on, Dan.
I know, I'm trying. I can't find anything that matches it. I'll try.
Maybe I better take a look at it again. I don't even know if my
Absolutely.
daughter has seen it.
Oh,
Is it
wow.
streaming? Is it streaming on TV?
It is on Amazon Prime. That's where I watch
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So, and
Wow.
my family has seen it as well. So they hear me talk about it quite often.
Oh, there was one other job I had fun on, Chicago Hope, because my
Oh,
daughter, oh no, I didn't, I wasn't in it. She was in it, but anyway, it's too long a story. Next time.
okay. That sounds great.
Oh, a great role was on ER opposite, not ER. What was the old hospital show? Anyway, my memory. But Jason Bateman played my son.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the show. Anyway, another time. It'll
Right, right.
it'll come.
I thank you so much. This has been amazing.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Well, friends, I just want to say a very, very big, heartfelt, sincere thank you to Julie Cobb for taking time out to talk to me. It was such an honor to hear all about her career and my favorite movie, of course, Salem's Lot. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview and stick around for more great content on Everything 101. But in the meantime, I wish for you, all your family and friends, peace and blessings, and I'll see you soon.